One of the things that what we do with the show is that we do all the research, look up the clips and everything like that. And Dre is like hardly any interviews, especially recently, right? And so I kind of want to flip that a little bit to you, Moose, because so we saw about him in the hospital, right? We're not a gossip site, we're not TMZ, but I'll mention for 3 seconds, clearly he's going through a divorce, right? Mm-hmm. Now, he is a very private person. Is this the downside of being a private person? Because he isn't always out there on social media. He isn't always out there on interviews. The media can mold a celebrity, a person who has stats out of the wazoo and is a legend. They paint him and can only believe whatever side is being verbal. Is that the downside of being quiet, of still keeping that kind of old, I'm not putting my business out there to the world thing, but does that allow others to paint a picture that may or may not be true? I don't know the story, so I'm not defending any situation, whether it's medical issues or family issues. I'm just speaking from a general thing of, are we in this day and age almost obligated to tell our own story and protect our legacy so others won't portray it in a certain kind of light? I wanted to get your thought process with that.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's only right. I love even some of the things that you've taught about on other episodes or on your lives, where you talk about you control your own narrative, even if there have been bad things that have happened in your life. Well, start stacking good content, the good that you're accomplishing, so that you can push that stuff further down into the search pages. So to your point, I think we've seen a great example of this, and we covered it with Will Smith.
Yep.
When they got out in front of the news sites and said, no, we're going to cover our own story. We're going to tell it the way we want to say it. And more importantly, leverage it on our own platform. So absolutely, it's definitely a downfall, to an extent, because if you don't have that relationship with someone, if your voice is not being heard, then you leave it to other people to continue to make up stories and tell it however it needs to be told. Unless you're, someone who really knows how to utilize that. I would say one of the more talented people is Drake, right? He actually is comfortable with people talking about him and boiling up his name in a lot of different areas. And he sometimes now uses that as leverage in his music, in his videos, to even further enhance his platform. And I'm not speaking to age per se, but I'm not sure if Dr. Dre, if that's his move. I guess time will only tell, but yeah, for sure. I think that's one of the things that come with it.
I think at the same time, like, because you brought up Drake, right? Even him, when he addresses some of the things, like the Rap Radar interview, some of the things he seemed almost kind of like bitter and like still hurt about.
Yeah.
But I think that is the downfall of fame. Because you look crazy speaking so much about it, like a Cardi B. No offense, Cardi. I'm just saying sometimes it looks crazy, right? But then you could go silent and not say anything and let one person say something crazy. Now everybody is believing it until you say different, right? Until you finally come out and be like, cool. Because with the Drake thing, and not go too off topic, but when we remember the battle about, the kid situation, Pusha T said, boom, dude got a kid. And you ain't hear nothing about it for the longest. And then a bar of, I'm not hiding my kid from the world. I'm hiding the world from my kid, all this blah, 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 right? It's like, oh, okay, we feel better now. Drake addressed it, right? But it took so long. So then the narrative of trash, trash, trash. How could you do that? Oh my God. I just don't, I think a lot of people want to rush to the fame and want to be in the limelight, but the responsibility of sometimes letting other people create this narrative of you can be very scary.
Yeah. 100%.
Very scary. I don't look.
100%.
I didn't mean to start off like that, but I wanted to shake it up a little bit because I was really thinking about that because it is a situation. You know, what people are saying about his divorce is a situation. What people are saying about his health is a situation. We will never know the truth until he speaks on it. And then is that the truth? So I don't know. I was looking at the ups and downs of being quiet, of being that celebrity like we've gone over with like a J. Cole, with, even a Jay-Z and stuff like that. Like, is that still a smart move in 2021?
Yeah. I would hope he's documenting in some form, right? I can understand if your form of documentation is in media, because quite frankly, it's not really my priority, or it's not my first love.
Right.
But I'm documenting in another format right now because I'm understanding the importance of, you got to document somehow.
Right.
Even just to commemorate your own life. Like you want to have something to show to your children at some point, or your grandchildren, to show like, hey, here's what life was like during COVID-19 or during the pandemic, or, in this era, in this generation, in this memory. So I think you would hope that if he's not choosing social media, then he's using another format to document what's happening. We go back to episode 14 with Inky, and you remember the part where he talked about, I have a journal for each one of my children so that I can tell them about the decisions that I made for them, which they may not understand right now at their age, but later down the line, they can go back and read that. That's a form of documentation that can really help people keep memory or gain understanding and perspective from what it was like walking in your shoes.
But see, we really may be going off topic, but this is cool, right? Follow me with this. So since you brought up Inky, it was funny because even from a standpoint of putting your business all out there, or being super silent, even goes from a materialistic thing, right? To still bring up Dr. Dre, I don't know how big or how many cars he has and everything like that, right? Still very to himself. Same thing with Inky. Shout out to Jose. He went to Inky's house and he was like, yo, inspired. You just have to see this place. And you will never see it on social media. But yet other people in where the area that Inky lives are super flashy. Like, yo, this is here. This is what I have. This is all the great stuff, right? It's like, what are you doing this for? I think it also goes with that, with Dre.
That's good.
And we'll get into that probably with this next clip, right? The very first clip is you could hear in Dr. Dre's tone and actions of how he deals with his career is that he does it for the art. He does it for creativity, right? He doesn't necessarily do it for the fame and all that great stuff. It's for himself and for other things. And we'll get all into that. But it's just like, there's such is there a happy medium in the world with I'm all out there or I'm all not? Like,
yeah.
And at least in our circles, I don't know.
Yeah.
But shout out to the podcast people because you're getting really what a Facebook Live show would be. But hey, we're here.